I'm always asked what threads are best for Dorset buttons. And honestly, you can use just about anything with a little practice. Today, I'm going to talk about the ones I use all of the time, as well as show you how to make the Dorset flower button. The following threads are not in any particular order, nor are they a complete list. They're just the threads that I use most often when making ring buttons. You should also know that I rarely, if ever, make a button that could not be used as a fastener. Some might end up as jewellery, such as a brooch, but I don't make the large-scale buttons to be used as hangings, for instance. So my choice of threads will always be those that are quite fine. Large-scale button art will require different threads. I've made an example of each of these using a 19mm 6/8 of an inch brass ring with a flower design. I'll show you how to work this design in the video, and it, as well as many others, are available in my Dorset Button Journal Kit and Dorset Ring Buttons book. Stranded embroidery cotton. This surprises people. I like embroidery cotton because it's totally accessible. Just about everyone who likes stitching has some. It's familiar. You probably have some right now, and you could make a button with it using any little ring. We use DMC stranded cotton in our Dorset Button Journal Kit for exactly this reason. People can get the kit, make other buttons using their stash right away. These two buttons have been made with stranded cotton. The first using all 6 strands as it comes. For the second, I cut a long length and separated each strand, then put 3 back together. You can see that this creates a finer design. The pros with embroidery cotton, there's lots of color choice. It's familiar to most people and it's easy to find in most areas. The cons, a poor quality thread can be fuzzy or even break. Choose a known brand if you can. Also, if you are working landscape or picture buttons, embroidery cotton is very handy to have for the details. Pearl cotton. I have to admit, pearl cotton is my first choice. For most buttons, I use a size 12 or a size 8. I like the definition that it gives to designs and the different sizes available. The designs in my Dorset Ring Buttons book all use a size 12, for instance. Here, the green is size 12, the blue size 8, and the yellow size 5. And I must mention variegated or painted threads. These are simply fun to use and can really show off the color changes. So let's take a look at how to make this design. I'll make this one a little larger than the samples I'm showing so that you can see what I'm doing. This ring is just 25mm, an inch. My shuttle is loaded with a size 8 pearl cotton. You do not need to use a shuttle. Instead, use a long length of thread, threaded single, onto a tapestry needle. As with all Dorset technique buttons, the first step is to cast the ring. That is, to cover it with close blanket stitches. Begin by holding the thread alongside the ring and work the first few stitches over this. Take your shuttle or your needle through the ring and then creating a loop with the thread. Pull up, and there's your first stitch. If your first stitch is a little difficult for you, go ahead and tie the end of the thread to the ring. The next stitch, again, so you're creating this loop through the ring, through the loop, pull up, The end should now be secure. So I can just snip that tail and carry on. I will carry on doing this while we get back to threads. The original Dorset Ring Buttons were made using a fine linen thread. The buttons were usually very small, as you can see from this image, and the thread was white. Colored thread was just not a thing. These buttons were meant for white garments, shirts, chemises, items that would be washed at high temperature and usually put through a mangle. Or they were used on lace for items such as cuffs. Either way, items that required regular laundering to keep clean. If you're looking to create something for a more historical setting, you need to go to small rings and fine thread. Fine linen is harder to find today, so I've used mkae thread here. I have also used a smaller 16mm 5/8 of an inch brass ring. And even this is a little large for this thread. Now saying that, there are now embroidery linen threads on the market that can be separated into individual lengths. This button was made using anchor linen as it comes, all of the strands, and this very small one, only 10mm 3/8 of an inch, using only 2 strands. The thread can be prone to breakage when separated, so best with a small ring, but great for historical purposes, though remember, no colors. Back to our button. If you're using a shuttle, now is the time to unwind it and thread the end onto a needle. Take the needle through the ridge of one of the first stitches to lock. The next step for Dorset ring buttons is to slick the edge. That is, to move the ridge that is formed by the blanket stitch to the back of the button. You can use your fingers or your fingernail, or if you have a slicker tool, you can go ahead and use that. Now we will lay the spokes. Take the thread down the back of the ring in a straight line and then up. Each wrap creates 2 spokes, so count from the center out. Slightly rotate the button anti-clockwise and repeat. Do this at least 6 times on small rings for 12 spokes, but more for larger rings. You can have as many spokes as you want with flower designs, as long as it is an even number of spokes. I'm going to wrap 9 times on this ring for 18 spokes. For most of the samples, I used 8 wraps for 16 spokes. Secure the center with a few little stitches. You can take this opportunity to push in and tweak to make the center as central as possible. Now work the filling. For this design, the filling is the standard rounding backstitch of the familiar Dorset wheel button. Come up alongside a spoke, then back down around that spoke to the back, and then move along to the next spoke and repeat. Up, back, down, next. Every spoke should be covered. And take care and make sure that you're wrapping the top and the bottom of each spoke pair. Carry on in this way, filling the design until you get close to the ring. Wool. A fine crewel wool is lovely to use for tactile buttons. For larger buttons, you can also use other weights of wool. So those of you who knit or crochet garments can easily match buttons. This button uses Appleton's crewel wool. Silks. I honestly don't use silk too often for ring buttons, but it can be lovely for special occasion buttons and so pretty on a wedding dress, for instance. There are many different types of silk out there, and those that can be separated in the same way as embroidery cotton are a good starting point. Spun silk is made of the broken pieces of silk from the cocoon, whereas filament silk is the unbroken strands unwound from a cocoon. For this reason, filament silk has an even sheen, while spun silk can sometimes be a little matte or fluffy. This green button uses a Verosoy's Soie d'Alger spun silk, all strands. It can be separated for a finer look, which is what I've done here with the silvery one. I've used 3 strands here. Verosoy also do a filament silk that is divisible, which is called Soie de Paris, and that will give a smoother finish to the button. Twist silks are harder to control, and I would always try to choose a softly twisted rather than a hard twisted silk. This button was made using a Verosoy's Soie Perle, a filament silk with a soft twist like pearl cotton, but look at the sheen. A little extra note here. I see many people talking about waxing the thread when Dorset button making. While I do recommend waxing the ring if you're having trouble with slipping as you begin, I really don't think that waxing the thread itself is a good idea. Beeswax will change the look of the thread, usually dulling it, and sometimes changing the appearance of a color too. The only possible exception I would make here is linen, but honestly, for Dorset ring buttons, I do think that wax can ruin the look of the thread. Of course, there are so many other threads out there. These are only the ones that I use most often. Never be afraid to experiment. Sometimes the coolest buttons are made with the most difficult threads. And now back to the button. The filling is nearly to the ring, and as you can see, we basically have a wheel button. Now for the last row, you need to work a rounding backstitch over 2 spokes, pulling them in as you work. Then move along to the next pair and repeat, again pulling in. This forms the petals. Continue doing this all of the way around. You can work 2 or 3 rows here if you wish and have the space. The last wrap needs to be secured tightly or it can loosen a little. I will sometimes go over the first stitch in the row to ensure the last is tight. Then take your needle under some of the threads at the back. Remember to ensure that the last stitch is tight and go then to the center to work a little knot. Here's how I tend to make the knot. Needle under, a couple of wraps around the needle, and then pull the needle through those wraps. Now go through again and then pull up and trim close. This way, the thread end should sink in and be less visible. Here's a reminder of the threads I talked about today. I will add links to our website in the description box below, and you might like this video next if you've never made a Dorset button.